Hello and welcome to Crimewatch. The studio is full of detectives from all across Britain waiting by the phones to hear from you. And it's thanks to you that we get such great results on our cases, results that we'll update you on just a little bit later. But first, as well as solving the murder of Barry Rubery in South Gloucestershire, can you find the villains behind this burglary in County Durham?
We know you loaded! Next thing I was on the floor with a knife in my back and a gun at my head. I was terrified, to be honest. I was terrified.
And Rav, you've got our most wanted faces. Who's on the wall?
Yeah, let's see how many of these you can catch. We've got 8 wanted criminals who are wanted in connection with crimes such as murder, assault and fraud.
Thanks, Rav. And Matthew, what have you got for us?
Well, were you one of the first people to get your hands on one of these? It's the new England away strip. 38,000 of these shirts were stolen in a lorry hijack before they went on sale. Police need help to find the lorry jackers who held the driver at knife point.
So all of that is still to come, but first, well, we need your help to find the people who murdered this 68-year-old. His name, Barry Rubery. He was killed in April in a village near Bristol. His children and grandchildren need to know why anyone would want to murder this kind-hearted man.
Barry? Barry? Oh, my God. Barry? Barry? Oh, bloody hell. Oh.
5 weeks ago, in this quiet village of Iron Acton near Bristol, 68-year-old Barry Rubery was murdered outside his home. A liked and well-respected member of the community, his family and friends are desperate to know why someone would want to kill him.
Why would anybody want to do this to my dad? You know, to my children's granddad and gran. He was so nice and helpful to people. Why would somebody turn around and repay him this way? I just miss him terribly.
He's always been that figure that I've always looked up to, and he's been my sort of guidance with the way I've structured my life. And it's just a big part of my life gone.
Barry lived in a quirky house by the side of the railway crossing for 23 years. He was retired and spent his days looking after storage units that he built behind his house, which he would rent out to businesses.
But they all liked him very much so. Very much. You know, he'd always go down. He'd even probably give some of them a hand if he could.
When the recession come in and some of the people were having problems paying the rent and stuff, he just lowered the price for them, because that's the sort of thing he'd do.
We know that on the day he died, one of Barry's friends popped round to see him.
Hey, Barry. How you doing?
All right, Steve.
You know, I completely forgot that ticket for the badminton horse trials. Will you be here in the morning?
Well, you know me, I'll be here just pottering around.
I'll see you in the morning then.
Yeah. Cheers.
See you later.
Cheers.
At around 4:30, Barry went out to a social event with some friends 6 miles away at Downend.
Say hi to family. Oh, good. I mean, Jack and George are both working, huh? How old are they now? They must be, what, late teens? In their 20s. 20s? I mean, when you've got grandchildren in their 20s, I mean, that's when you really know you're old.
Back in Iron Acton, a passerby reports seeing a Land Rover parked up outside Barry's house. But just 10 minutes later, it's gone. At 10:30, another witness travelling past his house reports seeing the Land Rover again. This time, it's facing the other way. By the time Barry arrived home, the driveway was clear.
That's quite all right. Mind how you get out? Take care. Yes, look after yourself.
His friends say that he seemed in good spirits when they left him. He locked the gate and headed towards the back of the house. But Barry never made it into his house. He was attacked on the path leading up to his back door and suffered an extremely violent assault which resulted in his death.
I arrived down the yard to find police everywhere, a tape going up, and to be told that there'd been a murder and my dad was deceased.
Just felt so numb. You just don't believe it. And I've felt that way ever since.
So, what do detectives know about Barry's murder?
Well, it was on the morning of Thursday the 29th of April when one of Barry's friends came around to see him and found him lying in the porch dead. He called us and we launched a murder investigation.
And what do we know?
Well, I think the offenders must have been parked up somewhere nearby, but what we know, Barry came back at 11:15 on the Wednesday night, and here he was subjected to a sustained and violent assault. It ended with people tying his hands and his legs with cable ties.
So do you think that was done deliberately to stop him fighting back almost?
Undoubtedly. I mean, we've been told that he would have fought back. He was that sort of person. And, you know, he's suffered significant head injuries as a result of this.
And what was the motive for all of it, do you think?
We're unclear of the motive. I mean, what we do know is that within the house, all the rooms have been entered, all the drawers have been opened, all cupboards have been searched. I mean, bizarrely, a plant pot has been moved.
And what was stolen?
Well, what we know is that his Nokia 3310 has been stolen, an old gold fob watch, and an identical set of keys to these, which were his house keys for getting in and out.
But that doesn't sound like they've taken very much.
No, they even left money inside, and they also left some money on Barry himself. Now, I mean, was this a burglary that went wrong? Has somebody been here looking for something in particular, or has Barry been targeted specifically for some reason?
And what else have you got to go?
You can see this road is really busy. It's a cut through to the M4 and the M5. You know, a lot of people use this, and I'm sure somebody using it has some information that could be key to solving this investigation.
It's quite a mystery, that's for sure. Well, Detective Chief Inspector Guy Reeves is with us now in the studio from Avon and Somerset Police. Terrible, terrible murder. You've got some new information.
Yes, Kirsty, we've had a witness come forward very recently to tell us about a black pickup truck that was seen directly outside of Barry's cottage about 10:45 p.m. on the night time when he died. Described as having a big black cab at the front and the flatbed uncovered at the rear.
OK, and we do already know about the Land Rover. Tell us about that.
That's a dark-coloured Land Rover Defender car. It's got a twin cab and a long wheelbase, and either a hard cover or a canvas cover at the rear. You know, if anybody has seen either of these two vehicles in that area, could they call in, please? You
said in the film there, a sustained and violent attack. Were there any aspects of it that were particularly unusual, worth pointing out?
Well, as you saw in the film, Barry was tied with cable ties to his hands and his legs. Cable ties identical to these, nearly half a metre long. I know these made by a firm in Taiwan called Giant Lock, but what I'm after is people in the local area that actually use these or know who uses these, if they could ring in and let me know. I need to try and establish if the offenders have brought these to the scene. OK, so it's local info but not the manufacturer you need on that. I mean, in terms of what was taken, Gary, there wasn't very much taken. His gold fob watch was taken, his mobile phone, and a set of keys identical to these that he was going to use to get in with. OK, we know, of course, it took place a very remote area. Witnesses crucial to this. Yeah, absolutely. The Latteridge Road there is a very busy road, and the following weekend was a bank holiday weekend and also the badminton horse trials. So, you know, I'm appealing for anybody that may have been using that road, or, you know, even if they were just visiting, did they see anything that could be vital to this investigation? OK, thanks for that. I should tell that Crime Stoppers is offering a reward on this of 10 grand. We need to find whoever did it. Were you on Latteridge Road that night? If you've got any information, think of Barry's family. You saw how devastated they are. 0500 600 600, or you could call the independent charity, Crime Stoppers. You can do that anonymously. Here's their number. It's 0800 555 111.
If you need to take a look at that reconstruction again, that's fine, it's online, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. For now, here's Rav with the first of this month's Wanted Faces.
And kicking things off tonight is this fella here, Kimar Saul. Now, he's wanted for the murder of Freddie Moody, who was fatally stabbed in South London 2 years ago. 18-year-old Saul used to go to college in South London and has strong links to the Dorset Road area of Kennington. Now, you might recognise my number two. He's Michael Brown, and he's wanted for defrauding £8 million from a former Manchester United chairman. As well as using the cash to fund an extravagant lifestyle, Brown famously donated more than £2 million to the Liberal Democrats' 2005 election campaign. Now, he was charged, but went on the run and hasn't been seen since. He's now been found guilty in his absence and sentenced to 7 years. Glaswegian Brown has a ponytail and goatee beard, as you can see in this photo, but may well have changed his look and is likely to be using a false identity. And number three is Nazim Hamido, or at least we think that's what his name is, and he's wanted for violently raping a woman in Manchester city centre in March this year. As well as Manchester, Hamido has links to London and Dorset. And at 4 at the end here is Jack Lane, and he's wanted for setting up a cannabis factory at an address in Milton Keynes. He was charged but failed to turn up at court and has been on the run ever since. 22-year-old Lane has been a builder and is known to have worked abroad, so do keep your eyes peeled if you're away on holiday. So, do you know where Lane, Hamido or any of the others are hiding tonight? If you do, don't wait, please pick up the phone now, 0500 600 600, or you can text us 63399, type crime space and then your message. It's really important to leave that space, remember, or your message won't get through. You can also check these mugshots out online, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. And remember, all of our most wanted faces stay on that website until they're caught.
We are in the middle of World Cup fever now, of course, but this year's Grand National meeting was another highlight of the sporting calendar, with millions watching the races across the world. For champion racehorse trainer Howard Johnson and his wife Sildo, that weekend has become memorable for all the wrong reasons.
I'm a farmer and a racehorse trainer, and that's what I've done all my life. I wouldn't be no good at anything else. We've ended up now, I'll be training 140 jumpers and about 25 on the flat. I've lived in the area all my life. About 4 years ago, we ended up buying Whiteley House, which is only 100 yards away from the yard, which is handy for me. It's lovely, peaceful. So is the wife, and she loves horses. And so we think about horses, eat, sleep.
How are they doing, Howard?
Well, I think they're doing pretty good.
Great.
Yes. I think we'll do well.
Good, great.
Sunday's a usual day, you know, it's our quiet day. We had tea about 5 o'clock. So the wife was washing up.
It's all right, love. Leave them there, I'll sort it.
All right, yeah.
It was getting to 9 o'clock at night. I said, I'm going up to see how the lambing's going. On the way up, I saw a car parked. To be quite honest, I thought it was a courting couple. And it was getting like dusk, and you think nothing about it.
How's it going? Everything all right? Yeah. The rest of them are okay?
And when I come back, I'm certain it was still there. I just pulled back into the yard with my old pick-up, come straight in the house, went into my little lounge where the telly is. All of a sudden, I heard this really loud bang.
Bloody hell's that?
Open the door!
You know you're in there!
Open the door! Open the door!
You're not getting
The more I was pushing, the more they were getting agitated. Next thing, like, I couldn't keep them back.
We know you're loaded!
Next thing, I was on the floor with a knife in my back and a gun at my head. I was terrified, to be honest. I was terrified.
Who else is in the house?
Sue! Do as he says, we'll get burgled!
Howard?
Get downstairs! We know you got money now. Where's your safe?
How am I going to save? Are you all right, Sue? Look, I've got £1,000 upstairs.
You know you got cash.
The lad with the gun said, I'll give you 30 seconds, and if you don't get the safe open, you're a dead man. And I thought, well, don't be the dead hero here.
All right, all right, all right.
Come on. Come on, move.
All right. All right.
He never quivered, the gun wasn't shaking or nothing, he was just so cool, like.
Hurry up. There. Don't be stupid, there's more.
I just thought to myself, I'm going to have to just give him the money, because you've got no chance, haven't you?
There, that's a lot.
Get up. Move. Come on.
Susie, are you all right? Susie.
First I thought she had had a heart attack, you know, she was that bad.
Are you all right?
Where are your car keys? You're completely surrounded.
It said, if you ring the police in 3 hours, you're dead, both of you. And next thing, whoosh, ran out the doors, went to come in, away. I don't want to move out the area of the house, because it might happen again, you don't know, do you? Damn, right. Oh. Right.
What an ordeal. Well, joining me now is Detective Inspector Simon Orton of Durham Police. I mean, bearing in mind that this happened in their own home, Howard and Sue, you know, they must be profoundly affected by this.
Indeed. I spent some time yesterday afternoon with both Sue and Howard, and it's had an absolute and profoundly devastating effect on them both. To have these people burst into their house with weapons to steal £100,000, they really are suffering. I think it's almost like a sledgehammer that's come crashing through their lives. I really have concerns that they will recover from the effects of this.
OK, well, let's look at the facts then. The Mondeo, that could be important.
Yeah, I'm keen to trace this. I think it's about a 2006 plated dark blue Mondeo. It's seen twice significant occasions on the day. Once by one of the stable lads earlier in the day when there was 3 men in the vehicle, and later on by Sue when she was packing or unpacking the dishwasher. The vehicle's driven past the house. I'm convinced that the vehicle is connected with the robbery. I need to speak to the owner of that vehicle. I need that vehicle to be identified.
And Simon, there was another car seen on that night as well?
Yes, Howard on his way to the lambing noticed this small dark-coloured hatchback vehicle which was parked in the recess of the field. Now again, there might be an entirely innocent explanation for the presence of that vehicle, but I need the person who was with that vehicle to come forward and speak to me and let me know what they were doing at that time or whether they have any vital information for the case.
Okay. What do your team know about the attackers themselves?
Well, the descriptions are not particularly remarkable. I know that they were both wearing masks. I know that one of them had gingery-coloured facial hair and spoke with a Teesside accent. What is interesting and significant is that Sue is able to describe the man with a knife, the attacker with a knife. He was wearing, you see, a hooded black sweatshirt. Now, she describes initially that the sweatshirt had the word chance written on the right sleeve in white or silvery white lettering. Now, later on, she's not sure. She's not sure whether it's chance or C-H-A-N with an E. But I need to find out the origins of that shirt and where that's come from. OK,
Simon, for now we're out of time. I need to tell you there is a serious amount of money on offer here, a 10 grand reward. If you can help fill in any of these blanks, please do pick up the phone tonight, 0500 600 600. If you'd like to remain anonymous, that's fine. Call Crime Stoppers, 0800 555 111. For now, here's Rav with tonight's CCTV.
Yeah, and let's see the criminals who've been caught on camera and see if you can catch them for real. Time to take a look at this watch and clock shop in Nelson, Lancashire last August. It's just another quiet morning until these three turn up. The shopkeeper doesn't like the look of them, and he's right to be wary. They force him to the floor, beat him up and tie his hands behind his back, then take their time robbing the place. But they aren't shy of the cameras. Put it away. Enough of that, it's your face we want to look at. Up here, just a bit closer. Perfect. They got away with 30 grand's worth of valuable watches and left the victim so traumatised he can't return to work. 3 thugs attacking a 65-year-old man. Pathetic. If you clock them, shop them. Christmas Day in Warrington Town Centre. It's 4 in the morning and a fight's kicked off between 2 groups of lads. So much for festive cheer. The bouncers turf them out, but allow one of their mates back in to grab their coats. He wasn't involved in the punch-up, but that doesn't matter to this other bloke. He waits until the victim is close by and then smacks him hard to the floor before doing a runner. It's mindless, unprovoked violence. Make all our Christmases come at once and tell us his name. 2 security guards stocking up the cash machines outside this shop in Lancaster back in September. But who's that lurking at the bus stop? He bides his time, then when the van doors are open, makes a dash for the cash. He threatens the staff with a knife and demands they hand over thousands before making a getaway in a white Rover 216 parked nearby. He thinks he's got away with it, but time to think again. A passing bus managed to snap this as he waited. He had a Liverpool accent. Who is he? Check out this man at Lloyd's TSB in Ealing, West London in March this year. He looks like a normal customer, but don't be fooled. He's part of an armed gang targeting businesses across the city. He goes up to the counter and demands cash. Unsurprisingly, they refuse, but then his mate turns up with a Mac-10 machine gun. They threaten the staff, but in the end lose their nerve and flee empty-handed. They're armed and dangerous. They didn't open fire this time. Don't give them a second chance. Take a good look. Dodgy hat, workman's gear. They're hardly the masters of disguise, unless it's the village people they're going for. There's a huge reward, 25 grand for their arrest and conviction. If you know them, pick up the phone now. So, if you know any of them, let us know here. Call us right now on 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399. Type crime, space, and then your message. And if you need a second look, go online, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch.
Now, 4 months ago, when we were all still only anticipating the World Cup frenzy, a lorry carrying a load of the new England away shirts was hijacked and the shirts were stolen. It was February and the news strip hadn't even gone on sale yet. Detectives are still trying to track the shirts down. And joining me is DC Graham Cobley, who is heading up the inquiry. A said shirt, 38,000 of them, Graham.
Yeah, I've got one with me here for those who don't know.
Is that all sort of traditional? It's like the original strip that we won the World, or England won the World Cup in.
It's a reproduction of the 1966 World Cup top. At the time of the offence, as you mentioned, these weren't available in the shops.
Okay.
They're widely available now, but we'd like to hear from anybody who acquired one in February this year.
OK, can you briefly take me through what happened?
When the driver arrived at the Deeside Industrial Estate, he pulled over the side of the road to consult his map. A dark vehicle pulled up inside, and 3 males wearing balaclavas, one armed with a shotgun, forced way into the cab, forced him into the back, and then drove the vehicle away. He was then forced into another vehicle, which we suspect to be the Ford Galaxy, and tied up before being blindfolded and dumped in a field near Loughton, just off the M6.
Now, very unusually, we actually have CCTV of the hijacking itself. It is brief in its time-lapse, but we can just see here. Tell us what we're seeing.
The driver pulls over. You can see the Galaxy pull out. The male's very professional, very quick, are out of the vehicle, into the cab, and drive away very, very quickly.
What do you know, if anything, about the gang behind this?
The description's very limited because he was effectively blindfolded. We can say they're the white males. There was 3 of them. They speak with a Merseyside accent, but interestingly, one of them was very adept behind the wheel of a lorry. He was no stranger to that. He may well have worked as a lorry driver, or may even still work as a lorry driver now. OK, much more info on this if people want it on our website. Graham, for now, thank you very much. If you've seen these shirts, you've been offered one for sale, pick up the phone now 0500 600 600. Coming up in just a moment, can you give detectives any more information about the murder of 22-year-old care worker Fionn Wynne Roberts?
And the criminal behind an internet and postal scam
which conned hundreds of people out of thousands of pounds by feigning affection and promising love.
She gets so used to being somebody there, and then there's nobody again.
Well, I'll tell you how detectives went out to Ghana to find him and bring him to book.
Now, Fallowfield is well known as the lively home of Manchester's student population. But over the last 3 years, there have been 2 sexual assaults in the area, which the Greater Manchester Police believe are linked. Detectives need your help to find the man responsible.
Code 6, 105 North Avenue, 52.
I've been raped. He knows where I live.
Police emergency?
I need the police. I'm a taxi driver. I had a young lady come over, stop me in the middle of the road saying she's been raped.
This is Fallowfield, home to Manchester's student population. In the last 3 years, 2 young women were the victims of sickening sexual assaults. Both attacks happened in the month of May, only streets apart. We believe that the same man is responsible.
I came to Manchester to study, and I work in a nightclub as well. Finished work about 3 o'clock and went to the bus stop on Oxford Road.
Fallowfield, please.
Got the bus up to the Sainsbury's in Fallowfield. The bus was busy. It was 3 o'clock in a student city, and it's one of the main bus stops on Oxford Road. Everyone kind of got off where I was getting off. It was a bit of a walk to my house from the bus stop.
This is the main stop for students living around here, and it is busy around the clock. We think that the attacker was watching to see who got off the bus, waiting for a victim. CCTV shows the attacker walking along Edgerton Road. What you can't see is the young woman on the other side of the road. He's following her.
The first time I saw the guy, he was on the other side of the road, wearing all black with his face covered. I didn't really think much of it though, because it was cold. And then I noticed that he crossed the street to stand behind me. The gap kind of closed until he was only 2 or 3 paces behind me. I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know whether I was going to get killed. After that, stopped trying to struggle at all. I was too scared to kind of do anything.
I haven't got anything.
The victim was then subjected to a prolonged and vicious rape, and still her ordeal wasn't over.
Where do you live? Speak up, I'll kill you. Tell me.
After a little while, I kind of had to tell him, and he said that if I ever went to the police or ever told anybody, that he'd kill me straight away, that he'd hunt me down, he knew where I lived.
Do you know what my name is? Do you? Rashid. Rashid. You won't forget that, will you? If you tell the police, I'll kill you.
We know from CCTV that the offender ran off down Derby Road. So where did he go? We think that he lives locally, and what's more, this isn't the first time that he has struck. Two years earlier, another young student was attacked, just minutes from Edgerton Road, as she walked home from the same bus stop. On this occasion, the attack was even more violent. The victim was strangled until she blacked out. When she came round, she had been raped. The lives of 2 young women have already been torn apart by a dangerous and opportunistic predator. How many more women has he preyed upon? Help us stop him before he strikes again.
It's affected my life a lot more than I thought it ever would. My university degree I've had to retake over a year's worth of work just because I missed so much stuff. I had to quit my job because I had connotations of finishing work and then going home and it all happening. It was broken up my relationship because I don't trust people that much anymore. So yeah, it kind of affects me on a day-to-day basis a lot more than I'd like to admit, to be honest.
We've got to stop him, haven't we? Detective Inspector Colin Larkin of Greater Manchester Police is here, a highly articulate, and it has to be said, a very brave young woman.
Absolutely, yes. This victim has been subjected to a horrendous attack and she was very brave in coming forward.
If we can find any good news in this, it is that there is plenty to go on. Where do we begin?
Yes, we're quite lucky with the description. In the first case, the victim was able to give us an artist's impression, and as you can see, he has quite a distinctive nose.
Yeah, he does. I mean, if anybody knows somebody who looks like this, you know, they want to take a closer look on our website. And also, you've got this sort of mock-up, which is very close to what this guy was wearing.
Absolutely. In the second attack, the offender was wearing a scarf across his face, but it had quite a distinctive paisley pattern on it in white.
He did say, as we saw in the film there, Rashid, my name is Rashid. Of course, that could have been a red herring, but it might be important.
Yeah, it could be a nickname or a family member's name.
Importantly, there are witnesses and there are CCTV that we need to show people tonight. Let's take a look at the first piece of CCTV. What we're looking at here is a witness, not the attacker. Tell us more.
Absolutely. In this first footage, this happened just before the attack. Just after the attack, and as you can see, the offender is running along the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, that was him running earlier, and the bloke who was walking along, not a suspect, but he could have vital information.
Crucial witness.
OK, next. Now, this would send chills up and down your spine. Tell us what we're seeing.
This one's more worrying. This is 2 hours before the attack on the same road. As you can see, the offender is following a young lady who's carrying a distinctive dome-shaped clear umbrella. That lady may have vital information for us.
Right, OK. If you were that young lady walking along that street on that night, please, we would urge you to get in touch with the police. You've got DNA, that's good news.
We have DNA, so we would ask people to come forward and don't worry, we have DNA, we will be able to eliminate people.
Yeah, if you think you've got a name in mind, a person in mind, they can be discounted if they're the wrong person. For now, thanks very much. I should, of course, remind you that stranger rapes are very rare, but clearly this man is extremely dangerous. Very good chance he'll offend again. If you know anything, however minor you think it is, I would urge you to call us now, 0500 600 600. And let me give you the victim support number if you've been affected by rape, 0845 30 30 900. If you need to take another look at that artist's impression, our reconstructions online, it's bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. Now here's Rav and Matthew with great results in the cases that you've helped us with.
And first, the latest on one of the most horrific cases we've ever featured. The murder of 48-year-old mother of 2, Heather Barnett.
Hi, Mummy, we're home.
God, I'm starving. Mum? Where is she, Caitlin?
Bag's here. Mummy! No. Mum? Mum? She's not in there. Mum, are you in there? The door's stuck.
Yeah, I'll get it. Mum?
Mum? Mum?
Well, a 38-year-old man has now been charged with Heather's murder and is due in court early next year. We'll certainly keep you updated.
Last September, we showed you a reconstruction of the double murder of Sally Ann Baxter-Smith and her 14-year-old daughter, Lois, who were killed by a fire at their home in Eastbourne. Well, a 37-year-old man has now been charged with both murders. We'll let you know what happens.
Now, in February, we told you how the discovery of a skeleton on a building site in Manchester had sparked a murder inquiry.
We can determine a number of basic features about the skeleton, in that it was a Caucasian female between 18 and 30 years old, probably between 5'1" and 5'7" tall. There were also a number of worrying features on the skeleton. We identified a fracture to the right side of the jaw. There was also a small fracture in one of the cervical vertebrae, and these are basically the bones of the neck. There was also a fracture to the nasal bone as well. And all of these injuries, particularly when taken together, are suspicious that she'd been subjected to a blunt force physical assault just prior to her death. And therefore this case is suspicious of a homicide taking place.
In an inquiry like this, there is no CCTV, there are no witnesses that we've traced so far, there's no house-to-house, so identifying the victim is the key to unlocking the mystery.
Well, some exciting developments, actually. Forensic scientists have now been able to obtain a full DNA profile from the remains. Now, this means, as detectives search for potential victims who may have gone missing in the 1970s, they'll be able to easily check the profile against DNA to identify the remains. Great stuff.
Now, a year ago, we appealed for help to find the killer of 40-year-old Paula Poulton, who was found stabbed to death in the boot of her own car in Swanwick in Hampshire. Well, great news. Just last week, this man was found guilty of Paula's murder. He's 57-year-old Roger Kearney. He was having a relationship with Paula, which is believed to have turned sour when she started putting pressure on him to leave his wife. He's now been sentenced to life.
Now, back in April, 22-year-old Fionn Wynne Roberts was found murdered just yards from her home in Porthmadog in Gwynedd. The care worker had last been seen leaving a friend's birthday party. That was on April 10th. Detective Inspector Neil McAdam from North Wales Police is here. Thanks for joining us, Neil. Tell us the information that you do have and what you're looking for.
Well, the information we have now is that a few hours after Fionn's body was found, a handbag was found in some sluice gates approximately half a mile away. Right. And with that handbag were two items which you feel is very, very important to trace the origins of. They were a pair of jogger bottoms, tracksuit bottoms, and a training shoe. OK,
given that those could be the most important clues, let's look at them in a little more detail. First of all, let's go to the jogging bottoms. Describe those. They're
tracksuit bottoms, they're blue, they're nylon, they have two white stripes down each side. They're extra large, and they have a label on them saying they make original. OK, and it's important to know they've got no sort of branding on them at all. Got no branding except the original sign on them. OK, let's look now at these trainers. Just another pair of trainers, you might think, but actually a couple of things that mark them out as unusual. First of all, the size of these trainers. Well, they're size 11, and they are Ascot make trainers. They're actually an Alaska model. We believe they're one of a batch of 3,500 that came to the country in December of 2009. Now, you've narrowed down that batch to you're now trying to trace 9 people who paid in cash. Well, we've narrowed 36 of these shoes that were in the North Wales area, in the Porthmadog area. We've narrowed down the number that were sold by plastic, and we're wanting people to come forward who bought them for cash. Right, and they cost around about how much, just a job? It costs about £12, £14 a pair. Now, it's a very small community that Fionn came from. They have been profoundly affected by this young woman's murder, and there is a big reward that's being put forward. Local people have got together and are offering a reward of £10,000 for the conviction. OK, for now, Neil, thank you very much for all that information. If you have information about either of those garments that we just saw, or indeed anything else about Fionn's murder, I would urge you to please pick up the phone tonight. It's important to say, too, that we do have a Welsh-speaking officer in the studio. If you'd prefer to pass on the information in Welsh, that's fine by us. 0500 600 600 is the number to call. Or, if you prefer, you can call the independent charity, Crime Stoppers. You can do that anonymously. Their number, it's 0800 555 111. Rav now, and our second lot of wanted faces. Right, my number 5 down here is Malik Haim, and he's wanted for a serious assault last December in the Withington area of Manchester. The victim was stabbed 5 times and had his face slashed. Haim also used his name Khalid Bashir, walks with a limp, and was last spotted in the port of Dover. At 6 is 24-year-old Peter Clunan. He's wanted in relation to 2 burglaries. Clunan's known to hang out in Bermondsey in south-east London, as well as Kent and Devon, and he's a big Millwall fan.
And number 7 over here is Anthony Plunkett. He scammed hundreds of thousands of pounds by setting up a fake TV warranty company, using customers' bank details to fund a lavish life of champagne and posh hotels. Not only that, cheekily, he's even been caught on camera nicking TVs from the hotels he stayed in. He also has links to Derby, South Yorkshire and London, and is thought to be hiding out on the south coast. Now, he also uses the name Daryl Searslake. And last, but by no means least, is this fellow over here, Rizwan Arif, and he's wanted for conspiracy to commit murder. In February this year, a 33-year-old man was shot at as he helped his 4-year-old son out of the car. Now, thankfully, the bullet missed and no one was hurt. Arif is originally from Ilford in .co.uk. Right, don't wait, call us here in the studio right now, 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 63399, type crime, space, and then your message. Don't forget to leave that space or your message just will not get through. And we've had more wanted faces put on our website, where you can also sign up for regular updates, and that's bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Now, every year, thousands of people lose their life savings and more besides by being conned into believing a long-distance romance is the real thing. After exchanging love letters and internet messages, all too often the victims end up sending off all their cash, thinking that they are helping the one they love, only to find out later that the romantic stranger is not who they claim to be. Here's Matthew with how the detectives catch the men behind the Lonely Heart scams.
When you read the letters, they're all asking for £300 to start with. We have examples where people have sold their houses.
Sometimes we were on the internet for 4 or 5 hours at a time. He made me feel like I was young again, like I was important.
You could end up being kidnapped. That's happened.
Hidden in remotest West Africa, young men are going to extraordinary lengths to make money. Among their targets, innocent Britons. Their secret weapon, the romance scam.
You get so used to being somebody there, and then there's nobody again.
Over 3,000 miles away in the Yorkshire Dales, one woman has been hit with emotional and financial ruin.
My husband passed away 5 years ago, but life goes on. You have to make the best of what you've got.
Battling with a serious breathing disorder, Dina was desperate to get her life back on track, so she joined a dating agency. After a couple of unsuccessful dates, she thought she'd found Mr. Right.
He told me that his name was Steve Moon and that he was a retired army officer.
Posing as an American general, he sent photos which he said were of himself.
He used to talk for maybe 2 or 3 hours every night, and sometimes during the day as well. He said that he loved me and he wanted to come here and see how we got on.
Dina thought she'd found her soulmate and had no reason to be suspicious.
We'd been communicating for probably about a month. And then he'd said to me, I have to tell you that I'm not actually in America at the moment, I'm in Iraq.
He told Dina a complicated story and persuaded her to lend him some cash. He promised he would repay it with interest when he arrived in the UK. She remortgaged her house and sent him everything she had. In total, £45,000.
I know this sounds very stupid, looking back on it now, but I think I'd got so involved with Steve by this time, I probably would have sent him anything.
But Steve Moon's elaborate story didn't end there. He said he was now being held captive in Iraq.
I needed £120,000 to pay off these people. Well, I didn't have anything like that. The only thing I've got is my house. I just cry when nobody can see me. Sorry.
Police were tipped off and turned up at Dina's door just days before she sold her house. They told her Steve Moon didn't exist. The photos she'd been sent were stolen from the internet and were actually of a retired United States Army officer Major General John Baptiste, a man who had nothing to do with any of it. Dina had been a victim of a romance scam. These types of scams rake in hundreds of thousands for fraudsters and, along with other scams, cost the UK £3.5 billion a year. With so many victims, SOCA, the Serious Organised Crime Agency, have a dedicated team to combat it.
If you put yourself onto one of those dating websites to say, I'd like to meet somebody, there are people out there, criminals, who will take advantage of that.
It would seem the fraudsters have a very specific victim.
Most frauds like this are hitting older people, people who are retired, people who are vulnerable in some ways, so the lonely people with the romance scam.
But who had taken Dina's money? SOCA had a lead.
She did not pay the money through a money service bureau. She paid it into a bank account. So we follow the money.
The cash led SOCA straight to their target, a Ghanaian businessman, Asola Fadola.
When we looked at the bank account, it had transactions going into it which went to hundreds of thousands of pounds, because Dina White wasn't the only person that was sending money into that account. Now, we presume that the other people, one person was in France, some others were in the UK, were victims. But that's not always the case.
One woman in particular had caught their attention. She deposited £150,000 into Asola Fadola's bank account. The only way to uncover the truth about her involvement was to pay her a visit.
She doesn't know we're coming. We don't know whether she's an innocent victim or if she is an associate. It may be that she's also involved in the scam, helping him to launder money from other victims in the UK.
That evening, Mike, accompanied by a SOCA officer, knocked at the door.
Sergeant Wood from Humberside Police. This is my colleague Paul Davis from the Serious Organised Crime Agency. Can I just come in and speak to you, please?
We couldn't film the conversation, but an hour later they returned with bad news.
It became clear fairly quickly that she was quite a tragic victim of a similar, if not the same, scam that Dina White has fallen victim to, and has been used and nurtured really by these fraudsters, and she's parted with an awful lot of money, probably the biggest single loser that we've come across yet.
Like Dina, she was tricked by this fraudster on the promise of romance.
It's a mean con, but very, very profitable for these people. An absolutely tragic story. I feel quite deflated and upset myself for the lady, and you can see that now she's realised what she's done. The bottom's fallen out of her world.
Lured by the potential for big payouts, Fadola is not the only one scamming.
They are clever people, and they are very entrepreneurial people. And some of these conversations go on for a long while, and there's lots of conversations that go on over weeks and over months, and they have to remember that sort of thing.
Their biggest weapon is the photo. The more attractive, the better. They simply cut and paste innocent people's pictures, stolen from the internet. But who are the criminals behind these lucrative scams? The trail leads to Ghana, where SOCA have been running a joint operation with the local police and Ghana Post to filter out scam mail. Much of the fraud is online, but a huge amount is also sent by post and is being intercepted.
These sacks represent all the scam mail that's been taken out. It's going to the UK, the US. If 1 in 1,000 answers, that's a lot of money to them. We've got tens of thousands of letters in here.
But who's writing all these letters? Crimewatch went undercover to find out.
Hello, is that Reggie?
Yeah, that's me, darling. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Posing as a wealthy businessman looking for love, a member of the team responded to a number of romance scam letters.
I really want to meet you. Your photos are beautiful.
After a month of communicating with 3 women, he decides to up the ante and call their bluff.
Good news. Guess what? I'm coming to Ghana.
The next day, our reporter arrived and planned to meet his potential love interests, Reggie, Philomena and Blanca. The rendezvous point, a hotel lobby. Rigged with secret cameras, the area will also be under constant surveillance by the local police. His first date is supposed to be with Reggie.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
I'm good, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Yeah, good, thank you. What, who are you, sorry?
Julian.
Julian. I was expecting Reggie.
Yes, Reggie.
You are Reggie?
Yeah.
Oh, you look different from the photo.
Yeah, you're long time.
Completely,
Yeah.
totally, it doesn't look like you at all.
Yeah.
She's Chinese.
It obviously isn't the woman in the photo, and very soon her real intentions become clear.
What is it you want out of the relationship?
No, I want a ticket. I'm in London.
A ticket to London? So you want to come to England? You want me to buy your ticket? Can you...
After 10 minutes, our undercover reporter reveals his suspicions.
I don't think you want a relationship. I don't think you're looking for romance. I don't think you're looking for love. I think you just want money. You're a fraudster. Explain yourself.
Caught out, she leaves. His next date is with a beautiful girl called Philomena. But she doesn't turn up. 3 men do.
She's not here because she's in a family meeting. So can you bring her to me?
They couldn't produce Philomena, but they did want paying for a long and expensive taxi journey to get to the hotel.
800? It's a long journey. I can't give you 800, but I have, what do I have on me? 20, 40... I've got 80.
Our reporter wasn't about to give them money. Instead, he confronts them.
I believe you've risked this long journey to come here to get money. 800 seats. I know it doesn't cost 800. I've been investigating you for the last month. I work for the BBC. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Realising they wouldn't make any money, the men leave. What they didn't know was that the police were waiting for them outside the hotel. It was the same for the third and final date. Again, a man turned up, but this time with a loaded 9mm handgun.
You could end up being kidnapped. That's happened. People have come here and they've been held until they paid money and then released.
3 separate syndicates. These were organised, dangerous gangs. The suspects were arrested and later charged. And after months of investigation, officers finally tracked down Asola Fodola, the man behind the UK scams. Handcuffed and unrepentant, he was led from his mansion. It was clear where the money had gone. It's people like Dina that are left with the financial and emotional cost of the romance scam.
It's got to say to her, I think I am going to have to sell the house to downsize because I just can't. No, I thought I might be able to cope, but I can't.
It's really sad, isn't it? I mean, it's preying on people's loneliness, and the numbers of people involved, astonishing.
Yeah, I suspect just about everyone watching at home would probably think, well, I wouldn't fall for that, but thousands of people do. One of the fraudsters was boasting that there's a scam for everyone. You just have to work out the person's weakness. And that's what they latched on to here. People looking for partners. They would then spend weeks and months building up a relationship as the defences come down. Then they rapidly accelerate the emotional content. You know, I love you, I want to spend my life with you. And they rapidly accelerate the request for help. And that, of course, is always money.
Really cynical. And when you say money, it's not small change here.
Staggering amounts. I mean, the woman we saw in the film who Soccer went to see, I mean, we didn't see her face, but she sent Fodola £271,000, everything. And what's so clever is the way they roll you from one scam to another. So when you pay a large amount, the fraudster then says, look, thanks for getting around that problem. I want to send you the money back straight away, so can you do X or Y? The problem is, X or Y are different scams that, again, are going to cost you thousands, and deeper you go. And you can never navigate your way around the problem and be with that person. That moment just never happens.
And with Fodola, we can see where all the money went. I mean, that was some gaff, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had $1 million in the bank. You saw the mansion inside. You had crystal chandeliers. You had gold taps in the bathrooms. Even the kennels for his dogs were bigger, plusher than a lot of people's houses. But Fodola is about to go on trial, and victims from here who he's ripped off will fly to Ghana and give crucial evidence against him.
Good news. I mean, for Soccer, this link-up with the Ghanaian forces, it's been really successful.
Yeah, it's really bearing fruit. I mean, it's not easy. These are so easy, these scams, to set up and then to move. But they spent about 18 months putting the surveillance, the intelligence in place. Now they're making their move. And just about every week they are closing down one syndicate after another. It's quite complex on the ground, but the advice for people here is brutally simple. 3 words: don't send money you won't get it back.
Yeah, good advice. OK. If you're concerned that you, or indeed someone you know, might be victim to a romance scam, there is now a dedicated website and a phone number set up by the National Fraud Authority where you can report that, or indeed any fraud at all. For now, though, here's Rav with a quick roundup of what's been happening on the phones tonight.
And we have had some good stuff coming in already. Let's start with the Iron Acton murder of Barry Rubery near Bath. We've had lots of calls about these type of cable ties, which is great, but we still need to know more about the Land Rover we appealed for. One name's been given, though, which is good. And then very quickly, the horse-aggravated burglary of the couple, Mr and Mr Johnson, the racehorse trainer. We've had some good-sounding calls about that hooded top, which is brilliant, and also several names suggested. Let's hope that leads to something. Now, every weekday morning this month, our sister programme, the Crimewatch Roadshow, is coming live from across Britain, asking for your help to solve a range of different crimes. This week, we're based in my home county of Kent, and here's a sneak peek at what we've got coming up.
This week on Crimewatch Roadshow, the gang of masked men who attacked a newsagent in Longfield, but forgot to stay covered up on the journey home. The Pink Floyd tribute band robbed of their prized replica Dave Gilmour guitar. And the master burglar who beat the security system at a stately home and escaped with £1 million hoard of porcelain.
Looks good, eh? Well, you can catch the Crimewatch Roadshow every weekday morning at 9:15 right here on BBC One.
OK, that's all for now. Details on all of tonight's cases are online, of course. It's bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. You can log on right now for a live update on what's happening here on the phones. I can tell you they lit up tonight. It's been very busy. The lines are open until midnight tonight and from 7:30 tomorrow morning. Our next programme, that's going to be on Monday, the 5th of July. But please don't go away, because we're going to be back at 11:35 with a full update on all of tonight's cases. If you can help, but you haven't called yet, please do it now. It could all be down to you. I'll see you at 11:35, 12 in Wales tonight. Until the next time, bye-bye.